can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Wise here. I'm founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders of P90X, Einstein Bagels, Atari, and many more, how they overcome big challenges in life and business. Today, I'm very excited. We have Alon Ozery, and he started what is now the Ozery Bakery with his father in 1996 by scraping together money from family and a business loan to start a small 700 square foot sandwich shop in Canada, and his brother Guy joined in also. Probably the bakery portion of that where they did production was only 300 square feet. So we're going to compare that. So since then, they've grown into 90,000 square foot facilities supplying grocery store chains and natural food stores all over the US and Canada with their natural products. Alon, thanks for joining me.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. This is an amazing story, and I want to start off. I always start off with the beginning. So I figured I'd switch things around and start off with now. And this week, so what's top of mind this week? What is the company working on this week? And I want to hear about what your day-to-day looks like this week, because we'll go back to when you were sweeping the floor in the sandwich shop in a second.
In the sandwich shop, I had my mother sweep the floors. I cleaned the toilets.
Okay, exactly. That's true, right? I mean, that's the reality of it. Someone's got to clean the toilets.
Yeah, we're busy these days. Actually, yeah. Well, I'll widen it a little to a month rather than a week.
Yeah,
probably more than that. Also, working on brand change in Canada. We started our store as Pita Break as a sandwich shop, and that name carried until a month ago. About 3 weeks ago.
20 years, almost 20 years, you were Pita Break.
Yes, and the name Pita Break was great for a sandwich shop. Yeah. We were finding that there was a lot of confusion in understanding our brand, understanding our products. A lot of times we got calls from supermarkets complaining about another pita company. Some people claiming to know our company and start talking about all the stores that we have which do not exist. We're a commercial bakery. So we understood we have an issue with our brand. People loved the product, they knew it, but they didn't know the name.
Yeah.
And a while back we decided to make that change, and after quite a bit of work, we kind of started transforming it, and that new packaging with a new name hit the shelves 3 weeks ago while I was actually at Mastermind Talks.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a huge decision, right? Because you have to change all the packaging on all your products, all the branding. So what made you decide to pull the trigger finally?
We wanted to make the change a few years ago. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. We were waiting for us to be stable. We've had a tumultuous history and almost went out of business a couple of times because of overextending, because of competition. And today we're at somewhat solid grounds, and we have the funds to finance this whole thing. So yes, it's very expensive. We're putting in a lot into it. So we felt comfortable. This is the time. We brought on a couple of partners to help us execute this change. And so far, knock on wood, we're hearing actually only positive comments. Not one negative comments, given that we communicate with a lot of our consumers on a daily basis. So I'm both Guy, my brother, and myself are quite happy with the results so far.
Yeah. So what did you discover with this brand change that you wouldn't have known without just going full out into it?
It's interesting. Well, we have been calling ourselves Ozery's Pita Break a few years ago. That didn't cost much to change.
It was like a slow transition. You're like Pita Break, then let's put Ozery Pita Break, then let's cut out the pita break and put in bakery. Yeah.
And our logo used to be like this running pita. Some people will miss it. we promise we'll bring
I did check out the old logo. Yeah.
Yeah. That my ex did it, and on a napkin kind of, and he went a great deal, a long way, and did a good job for us. But it's time to change and to move on. And I forgot the question.
It's funny. Well, what you wouldn't have known without going through. And I asked because there was a fellow mastermind talk, someone I met, Sean Fuller. We were just talking about this last week, and he's like, he's making a brand change. He's like, if you have anyone coming on who's done a brand change before, have them talk about it. What should he be looking for in his brand change and be doing?
So what we were doing, because we're a product on shelf, we didn't make the changes we made were our logo on the package, and everything else we modernized it, and we think we made great improvements to the design and messaging, simplified it, clarified it, but the package still looks like the older one. So if you'll see, when we look at a shelf, we tend to walk 10, 12 feet back, look at the shelf. And do we get the same sense? As you get closer, you start seeing details. So when you're 12 feet away from our shelf today, you get a similar sense. It's a similar company, similar colors. And you get closer, and you still get that sense. Only when you pick up the package and start looking at details, you will notice that. Oddly enough, some bakery managers, which see this every day and handle it on a daily basis, haven't noticed the change, which I don't know what that means if our brand was that bad before, or we didn't do a great job now. But I think it's neither. I think we did a good job, and our goals of keeping it close to what we had before, yet sneaking in our name, are kind of working for us.
What were some of the hiccups, Alon, with the brand change that people should watch out for?
When it comes to packaging, I won't go into details because I don't want to get my heart rate going up again. And perspiring isn't my
It was really stressful,
attractive trait. Yeah. So you have a drop dead date, and everything is set for a specific date for products to go onto shelf. You pay lots of money for marketing on shelves, which happens during 1 week and 1 week only. And it has to happen by then. And we have, for us, it's issues of registering names. It's the organic accreditation, the GMO accreditation, the non-GMO accreditation. Yeah. There were so many moving parts, and you have no choice. Yeah. Everything is printed on bag.
Yeah, like your one bun, for instance, has like a big purple, I remember it, like a big purple organic logo on it, right? Like something like that.
One of our bags. Yeah. Yes. So you make some changes because it's an opportunity to change ingredients, to upgrade, to improve things that you've held on for quite a while, and then just things happen. And thankfully we overcame everything. There was a stressful, I'd say, month prior to, but you know how things tend to sort themselves out. Yeah. They did in our case.
Yeah. And you know, in my research, it showed like you guys really innovate. And did you guys come up with that like type of one bun format? Because we get that. We've gotten it, and I remember we first got it. It wasn't that long ago, and you started that.
If I start perspiring again, you'll understand why. But yes,
I think I know what you're going to say and why you're perspiring, but go on. Yeah.
We developed them in Canada and did very, very well with them. And we devoted all of our business to that pre-sliced thin buns. Nobody else in North America made them.
Yeah. And people can't visualize it. It's like a circular, well, you describe it so people can.
Well, we're Canadian, so hockey puck. But a little thinner and sliced. So have two very thin end parts come apart, which make a fantastic sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly we make it with the kids,
You toast it up a little, it gets hard, it firms up a little and holds things very well. You can make really, really good sandwiches. The whole experience with less bread was very unique at the time. And it's not long ago, you're right. I'd say 6-7 years ago. Anyways, we had a 40,000 square foot bakery. We borrowed money to go and open this new facility, thinking that US is going to be is basically open territory.
A big market for you.
It's making that, yes. 6 months prior to just before we were ready to launch it in the US, and we were already talking to a couple of buyers. I was in Florida and I went into a Publix, and you know I'm walking around happy in my tank top on holiday. as usual, go to the bread.
Right.
And I remember seeing similar products, which until then didn't exist, made by, I won't mention who, and my jaw almost hit the floor, and I was, oh my God, what is this? And I pick it up, look at it, and it's identical to our products. So it turns out a Canadian company that took it to the US, and with a much larger company than ours, launched it in the US and did a great job about it. And the two companies in the US basically covered the entire continent, which we were far from having those abilities or capabilities of doing. And I'd say very, very quickly they became extremely popular. I was told several $100 million in sales, which, you know, we would have enjoyed, but in retrospect, I think it was a good thing. That almost put us out of business because we extended ourselves to a new bakery, thinking we can get that business quick enough. But I guess not quick enough. Yeah. And that's the pre-sliced thin bun, and we're happy to say yes, we developed it, we made it up, we came up with it, nobody else, and today you'll see it practically at every store in North America. Unfortunately, not all of it ours, but the good thing is after that we kind of had to look good at ourselves. We always made products with no preservatives and some organic ingredients and the better for you products, but this kind of solidified our brand, because all our competition used chemicals. They needed softer products, longer shelf lives, more distribution, and we said, you know what, screw this. We are who we are, because I think with great opportunities, you think you have financial windfall, people are more inclined to make those compromises to their values, and thankfully we didn't, and today we are very solid as to who we are. Today our one bun, which is our pre-sliced thin bun, is I'd say the best seller in the natural market in the US and in Canada. So we're talking Whole Foods, we're talking all the natural markets, Sprouts, really good companies. And we got to a good place. Luckily that we had to close the smaller bakery, focus on the big one, you know, take a mortgage on our houses to I guess satisfy the banks a little, and we pulled out of it. So at the end of the day, it was a good experience.
You say that with a smile. I don't know if I'd say it.
Today I can smile, definitely.
Right, exactly. At the time, not so much. Is that preventable? Like, can someone... You came up with this innovation and a different type of product. Is there a way to preventing other people from knocking it off?
There are patents you can pull, but every little change you make will I guess
get rid of the patent.
Overcome it. Yeah, and we're not patent experts. We like food, we enjoy food. What we've learned from this experience and from others also is to invest in the brand. So it's all about our brand. It's about who we are, what our values are, and our customers seeing are they getting what they're expecting, and that's all we work on. Our competition and everybody else can do whatever they want. It's a free world, and today we don't get that excited about it. We're solidifying our brand. We're honest about what we're doing, and we're not overextending ourselves. Today, huge growth I have no interest in. My brother may have that interest, but that's the beauty of our us being a little different. Right. So yes.
How did you come up with it? That was, no one had done a product like that. What made you think of it?
Traveling, and that is one. We have our morning rounds, which are extremely also very innovative product, doing well for us.
So tell people what's the morning rounds.
They're toastable grain and fruit thin buns. So you'll have, so basically that gave us a lot of growth in Canada. We had a muesli bread that I saw, and then the bagels, and then pitas. So we kind of married all of them into one.
Right.
And you get this really tasty hockey puck again. So, but much softer and healthier and better for you. Maybe less fiber than a hockey puck.
Right. Yes.
And you take from different areas. The pre-sliced thin bun. I was in Finland actually, looking at a manufacturer, and we saw these rye buns that were sliced and they were thicker, and we said, wait, what if we do something like this? And we took it back to Canada and started playing with it, and yeah, the success we saw with it in Canada was tremendous, and that's why, hence the growth opportunity that we saw. But at the end of the day, realized we were not quick enough.
Yeah. So, Alon, I want to talk about some of your research, your R&D processes, developing different, flavors, different products. But I have to ask first, how do you break into these grocery stores? How do you break into Whole Foods?
When we started in Toronto, it was very organic. So we started with our own store. People liked it. Natural health food shops, small, better for you chains. And then when you're in the small, better for you chains, the big guys are already looking at what's happening there, and then they'll approach you, or when you approach them, they'll know who you are.
Yeah.
If you're different enough and unique enough in terms of product and brand, then I think their ears would be open.
Yeah.
In the US, we attended a lot of shows. So we attend 5 shows, 2 natural and organic food shows, which are massive, both in Anaheim in the West Coast and in Baltimore on the East Coast. And the fancy food shows in New York and San Francisco, and then deli bakery show. And all the buyers go there, so they see products. And then you try and approach the more, I guess, the medium to smaller chains that are open to innovation. You find that conventional grocers, whenever they hear innovation and something new, it's like they put their hands on the ear and they're not interested.
They want it proven out.
Boggles me because, but that's their business model, and that's fine. And when they see something they want to know where else. If I were a grocer, I'd say, where else is it? Not many places. Okay, I'll try it. I want to be a leader. However, most grocery stores would rather hear that it's doing well and only then take it. And that's the challenge for newer products to enter, because these are like things that expire to 10 days. They're hard to manage.
Yeah,
it's not an easy market. I think we picked one of the hardest markets.
It's horrible. It's horrible. I was watching a video of on your channel, on your YouTube channel, of a girl. I don't know who that girl is, but the Real Food, and it basically walks people through. She goes on and says, "This goes bad. Here are the ways to prevent it." And I immediately thought, "This is horrible. His product goes bad." So
we never said we're very intelligent, but
well, there's barriers to entry. There's something to that too.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So I want to go into the days of cleaning toilets for a second, but I always like to include a fun fact. A fun fact about you, Alon, is that you hate heights, but you've been bungee jumping.
Yes. I think in the last, I'd say 10 years, in order to grow as a person, it's boring to run away from things you're afraid of and look for things you love, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like a rat in a maze, and that's no fun. So I started doing things like that.
Yeah.
Another example for me was I was thinking, what is the food or drink that I hate the most? And coffee came to mind. And I remember being much younger in the desert, cold. The only beverage was coffee. So you're standing there freezing your ass off, and I was offered coffee, and I put it in my mouth and I spat it out. It would have warmed me up, it would have gotten my blood flow going, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, what's the strongest coffee I can get? And what I thought was an espresso. So we had an espresso machine in the office, and I went over there, made an espresso, put a little sugar to sweeten the drink. And I looked at it and I said, okay, you are going to like this coffee. I'm going to like this coffee. And then I took it and had a swig and a drink, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And the feeling after was quite good. Then the next day I did the same thing.
Right.
And after that, I've been addicted. So it's one example of the power that we have on our likes and dislikes, and that we have the opportunity and ability to change them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to not do things that are not good for you just because you're trying to challenge yourself.
Yeah.
But so that hence the height thing. coffee, and many others.
Yeah, what else have you done that you were afraid of? Because coffee, you're not afraid. I mean, heights, I don't know if people who are afraid of heights could actually do a bungee jump. What else that you were afraid of that you actually just overcame and did?
I was terrified of public speaking. Terrified of it. And I overcame that. And today, again, I don't speak that often. I mean, I do talk at a couple of schools here in our entrepreneurship departments to help out. But after forcing myself to stand in front of a crowd once, I enjoyed the whole experience so much. It was just great.
Yeah.
I can't think of much more.
What's your process for that? What's your process for overcoming fear? Because like I noticed when you talked about the coffee, or maybe it's the same with public speaking, you told yourself internally, I'm going to like this. What's your process to actually do bungee jumping when you're afraid of heights?
I think it's the power of words. So I try to be very careful in the use of words, not to say things that I don't intend, and not to say things to please people, and to say things that I do intend, not necessarily hurtful. Then I just don't say anything. But the words that do come out, for them to carry weight. Yeah. And then it comes back to you, right? So it's also that's externally. When it comes back to who we are, I'm saying these words to myself, and do they carry any weight? So I believe that just talking to a great example. Okay, so I've been having some issues with some headaches and stuff a few months ago, and I went to this acupuncturist. Yeah. And she's a Chinese medicine acupuncturist. I don't know if you know the difference. There's acupuncture you could do that doesn't hurt that much. Yeah. And there's acupuncture that just, oh my God, it goes challenge your every cell. Tremendous pain. And she seeks the pain because that's where she finds the release. Yeah, yeah. I guess. So I do it.
That's a good quotable. Seek the pain so you can find the release. Yeah.
You could quote it in many ways. You could take it in many ways. Yeah. So today I go once a week, and I tell myself that I tell myself it won't hurt. That doesn't help that much. But what I do, so the next step is visualization to overcome that fear. Because I mean, it doesn't make sense almost to do it. You do see results, but not immediate. Right. So we don't get that.
It's not a quick fix.
Connection between this is what you do and this is what you benefit from. This is a little further from that. So visualization, another, is so I visualize myself lying on the bed and her doing it and myself standing away from it. And the moment I did that, I understood again the power. This was just another example of suddenly the level of pain that I was experiencing diminished, I'd say by more than 50%. Wow. So the ability to almost just visualize myself out of it, and it's not done to me, it's done to me over there, or to that body over there. Interesting. Is very powerful. Yeah, I guess you could use it in many ways, but that's how I use it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's interesting. So go back to, where'd you grow up?
I was born in Toronto. Okay. To a father who's of Israeli, Yemenite, Jewish descent. Right. And a mother who is English and was very English, and they met in Toronto, and Toronto brings people together. And then we moved at an early age back to Israel, where we grew up, being a lot in England and Canada, and then came back at 16 to Toronto.
So what was it like growing up in Israel?
Good. It's a country just like any other country with a few more stories, but it was great. You run in the fields, you eat fresh food. Our Yemenite family was all about food and baking bread. That's where I learned to make pita. That's where my love to dough that is rising slowly, and the smell and the scent that dough brings, and the actual baking, the scent that brings people together. Right. Literally to the kitchen, and grab and eat and laugh. It's a very it's a great memory, and I think that was a great influencer on going into the bakery business. today bread gets such a bad rap. I mean, with many with the gluten-free thing, and I think people. I know we'll get over it. I know bread will come back. The healthier versions, without the chemicals, the naturally made breads, they bring people together. There's a satisfaction and happiness that bread gives me, and I think gives a lot of people. And avoiding it doesn't make any sense to me. I remember when meat was you couldn't eat red meat, or eggs were terrible for you, or coffee was terrible for you. And today they're all on the must-do list, right? So I think bread is soon getting. I already see the leveling off the sales of the gluten-free breads, which makes no sense to me, because they're not really breads. But they do, I guess, cater. I'm not talking about people who really can't eat bread. I'm talking about everybody else who thinks it's not good for them. But I see it coming back. I see bread coming back, and there are great breads out there which are naturally made and with time, and they may cost a little more, but I think we'll do okay.
Yeah.
We're doing good now today also.
So Alon, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I love people. I'm shy. I'm very shy inside. So talking with people, small talk is hard. But serving somebody something, or having a job to do, I like. So you get the interaction and you overcome the shyness. So I thought a store, a hotel, something like that.
Because I remember I read somewhere before you started the company, Pita Break at the time, you were doing hospitality, right?
Yes. Yeah, I studied at Ryerson in Toronto, Ryerson University, and I did hospitality with business. Yes.
Yeah. So tell me about the leap into your own business. Like I said at the beginning, you started it with family money. How hard was it to get that money together, and what did you actually say to your family members to actually have them invest? Because that's a big decision.
Well, I went to Ryerson and I wrote the business plan for the sandwich shop there, and it was a great class. You didn't have to attend class. You only had to attend the first class and the last class.
Okay.
The goal was to write a business plan, and there was a $300 prize at the end of it. So whoever gets voted the best business plan gets a $300, I guess, in cash.
Right.
So I didn't do that well in school or university, but in that class I did really well. And my business plan was voted in as number one.
Wow.
Which was great drinking money. So so that's when the business plan was written. I went and got some more experience in food industry. So from age 16, I worked as a dishwasher in a deli, and then I was a meat cutter in a deli, and then managed a counter. And then I decided to go to Canada's Wonderland, which is a huge theme park up here, and got experience in a restaurant. And then I became an area manager in the food department. So all that was great preparation.
Yeah, you had a lot of experience. It's not like you just jumped into a sandwich shop not knowing anything.
No, I've never done it myself, but the food elements of it, I made sure I have that experience, including the managerial experience. So I finished university. I had $20,000 in debt, and I said to my father, I can't see myself working for anybody, and I really want to open the sandwich shop. Here's a business plan. And he was amazing. He was 61 at the time. We were not wealthy. He took the only $50,000 that he had, him and our mother, and he put it in it and said, "Let's do it together."
Wow.
And obviously, sure, he had business experience, and we found a location and made the pitas. And
so it was just that. It was just he read it and he's like, "Let's do this." There was no.
He's an amazing person. He's an eternal optimist, and he had faith, and we were backing up with action. So that seemed to work for us. I'll tell you, I didn't sleep for. Then we went and we got a $100,000 small business loan,
right?
And I honestly didn't sleep, and I worried for the first year because, to me, the retirement was on my shoulders.
Yeah,
and
even
though he worked there. And at the end, after a year or two, he came every night at 7 p.m. because our sales of pitas grew and grew and grew. He came at 7 p.m., worked all night. At 5 a.m., I would come in.
Wow.
We'd pack the products. He'd go home on his way, drop a couple of store deliveries. I would go on my route, come back, do the catering orders of the morning,
Wow.
come back at 12, do the lunch rush, and then etc. My ex-wife, who's amazing also, was part of that also. She worked as a waitress in the Four Seasons Hotel, but we made sure she works there until a month after we opened to make sure we have people coming to the store, and only then did she quit and then join the store. So
when did you start? What was the staffing like in the beginning? It was you, your dad?
Me, my dad, a 16-year-old guy named Craig, who I worked with at Canada's Wonderland, who today, by the way, manages our distribution.
Wow.
He's not a young man anymore.
Yeah.
And one more part-time person.
Yeah.
My ex, who joined us quick after, and that's how we started.
That is unbelievable. So your dad worked through the whole night?
He did. At 60, then it was 62, 63. When our business grew a little, our sales increased a little, and we never thought we could sell our products at the price we sold them. At the time, all the pitas in the market were selling at about 99 cents for very thin products, Lebanese style, which are great pitas for what they are, but they were 99 cents. We were selling ours at 2.29, so they were a different product. They were all natural. We used different grains. They were thicker, but we never, didn't register that we could sell them until we actually tried that, and there was a demand for it, great demand. And it was we grew organically from there. And from there, I remember 2 years into the store, we were doing some catering, a lot of business at the store, but still the amount of energy we put into the business wasn't worth what we took
24 hours a day. 24 hours a day.
We had to close Sundays and we had to start taking breaks.
Yeah.
But then it was what's next. And this guy, a customer, and I loved our customers. I miss our customers. Very successful young man. He was talking as I was cleaning the window outside, and he was standing eating his sandwich talking to me. I was contemplating, should we go into catering? Should we open another store? Or should we go into wholesale baking?
Right.
So he said, Alon, catering I already knew shortened my life because you promise four customers, you'll be there at 11 for their lunch. You won't be able to do all of it, but you do it anyways. And at the end of the day, they're okay, but the stress levels for me
were a lot.
Yeah. And another store, it was, okay, we're going to have minimum wage plus employees represent our brand without us being there. That was it's done, and many stores do it, but it was a challenge.
Yeah.
And he said, Alon, you go into wholesale, it will be harder to get in, but once you develop a brand and once you're there, it would be a much better business model.
Yeah.
And I think since he made that comment, and very smart guy, Jonathan, I look at things as models and look at models and how much you put in, what can they give out,
right.
And if they make sense, will I approach them? Otherwise, it's it's great, but I'm not interested.
Yeah. I mean, so Alon, early on, though, what's interesting is a lot of businesses go out of business. They don't do well. So at what point, it seemed like you guys were having so much demand where you were working around the clock. Where did you hit a point of getting that traction that too much business obviously is a good problem to have.
Our issues at the beginning were not charging enough because we made everything from scratch. Yeah. Everything we had on our counter, the hummus, the dressings, the salads, the grilled stuff.
Sounds great.
Breads, everything. It's great and it isn't. I don't know if I do the same.
Right.
I would choose the most important elements to be made in-house.
Right.
But that was and we didn't charge enough money, and so we were successful, but there wasn't enough compensation for the work that went in, but it seemed to have worked for us. Today we charge, I'd say we're not expensive, but we're not the cheapest product out there either.
What was what's interesting early on from reading the history is even from the beginning, you were all about healthy ingredients and natural ingredients, and that seems obvious now, but back then not so obvious.
No,
what made you made that conscious choice? Because it's also more expensive to do, and they go bad quicker.
Yeah.
Talk about that decision and why.
At first, it wasn't a conscious choice. At first is when you make fresh product and you eat it, you don't need chemicals. You don't need softeners, stabilizers, enhancers of all sorts for the process or for God knows what or for 9-day shelf. Who needs that? You eat it. So that's how we started making our products.
Yeah.
And then we started selling it to stores, and we were like 5-day shelf life, and like it was terrible. Even today, our products have a much shorter shelf life than our competition. We just serve the stores more often, and we're there more often, which is, you know, an advantage and a disadvantage. And you mentioned it earlier. I guess it creates barriers of entry. It's harder to do what we do.
Yeah.
But I'm very sensitive to a bunch of foods and the chemicals, especially.
Yeah.
And we don't want stuff. We don't want that stuff in our products.
Yeah. So what's the R&D process like? How often are you coming up with new products?
It's a very organic process, and I think at first it was mostly myself. It's either you have it or you don't, I think. Today we have a great R&D developer manager who joined us. She's amazing, Aneta, and Arolan, who's part of our team. I think part of the process is to have a lot of fun, to think differently, so not to be in office or work environment the whole time. We go out, we drink, we eat, we laugh. We were in California for a food show. We drove around, we went to restaurants. You get ideas, you get excited about things, and then you go and try it. You have to have open eyes. You have to look at things not as they are, but just notice them, and because you can always take elements from different things and apply them to a bread or to whatnot when it comes to development. So our issue today is not development is not an issue. Our issue today is if we develop something new and exciting, it's successful, we're screwed because we have to build a whole line that can supply the whole country, and that's kind of limits our ability to develop. And it's funny because Guy and myself, my brother and I, are very different. The beauty of it is today we are a medium-sized bakery here in Canada and the US. My brother is he created the systems and the flow and in an amazing way, and the equipment, which is state-of-the-art, to our process, custom-made, slow baking, slow everything. So if it was just me, I would probably have a very successful stall in a market. So I'll be and selling every day and having all that excitement and great product, but I wouldn't be able to touch as many people our product. And the combination of my brother and I gives us our ability to sell our products, which I think are they're tasty and they're good and they make you happy everywhere across North America, and that's fantastic.
So Alon, tell me, what is the latest, most popular product? And then I want to hear about how you created it. And then, like you said, it's a pain to actually, once you create something successful, then you have to create the whole line to produce all of that. What's been the latest, most popular product that you have? So
I really like two things, and they're still not out there completely, but we have a really nice olive oil cracker. We haven't created any new families because we're so busy with what we have right now, which is kind of a shame, but it's what we have. The olive oil cracker with multi-seeds in it, so it's with sesame seeds, flax seeds, and black onion seeds. Really, really nice flavor, amazing. And our newish morning round that is date and chia. So the chia seeds, which are amazing, and dates from the Middle East. In a whole grain bun, really nice combination of products, and they're getting out there now slowly.
So the date and chia, how hard is that to launch out to the market? Considering I know you have like 4 other different flavors or kinds, is that equally as hard, or is it less hard because it's the same kind of infrastructure with different ingredients with the with the date and chia?
I think you need to look at it in 2 ways. One, it's easier to make, but it's harder to get people to taste it because they're used to their and then it's a fourth out of 3,
right.
Or it's the fourth instead of 3,
right.
Or instead of 1. So yeah, it's easy to make, harder to get people to taste, but you have to. I mean, you do rotations and sometimes get people to taste it, and it does well. If we need a new family of products and we have a couple of new ideas, again, it will take. We may need a new building, and I don't want a new building right now.
Your brother was like, let's buy a couple more buildings.
My brother has the plans in his drawers, and I don't want to look at them yet.
So when you say a new family, like crackers, since you don't have a cracker product, that would be considered a new family?
Well, we have a lavash cracker, which is a form of a cracker.
Okay.
So they're elongated, dry crackers.
Like flatbread type crackers? Yeah.
Yes. And we do have a line of that. So to make a smaller one is almost a similar process again. So yeah, new family altogether. When we are really bored and have funds to do something like that.
So what's the best-selling product right now out of everything? Most popular?
I'd say the pre-sliced thin buns have really done well for us, even though they were second to market in the US, but today they're doing really well because they're natural and tasty. Our morning rounds are doing amazingly. They're such a good snack or food for warming up in the morning and grabbing it and eating it and being nice and wholesome. Kids love them, parents love them, and they're just really neat. They're doing really well for us also.
So I want to talk about some of the growth milestones. So you started off, like I said, in that 700 square foot sandwich shop. What was the next growth?
So about 3 years after, we said what's next, and after that talk with a guy, we decided to go wholesale. And we rented 4,000 square foot empty hall or warehouse not far from our father, and bought a bunch of equipment.
You had to build everything out. You have to do everything from scratch there.
And we had no clue about. I mean, we were making them at the store, which is like making them at home, and then going in industrial is a completely different process.
Yeah.
The equipment is completely different. We bought mostly used equipment because we didn't have money for new, and some of it didn't work properly. The oven, for instance, was giving out terrible product for a few months, and I was just not knowing what to do. You're looking at the ingredients, because everything changed, so you're looking for what's making them so bad. And we're selling them, and I didn't want to even deliver them to the stores but we have no choice. But very quickly discovered this. Looking at gas pressure, so it was an oven from the Middle East, and there they use propane, which is high pressure gas, and here it's natural gas. And then so we just had to compress it and condense it and change the process a little to give us the same product.
A lot of experimenting.
A lot, and yeah, it was hard. It was hard, and then a lot of labor because we put stuff into a sheeter and put it on trays and let it sit, and then put it in another thing and let it sit. Only when one of our suppliers, a really great guy, who had I guess extra line time on his end, and he said, "Guys, let me make you an automatic line based on your criteria." And we said, "How will we pay for it? We don't have money." He said, "Just pay me monthly." And he said, "Sure." So he built the line, no down payment. And
so what is building the line? What's entailed?
So it's an automatic. It's a line that would take products from the divider rounder, and it will travel, and then it will fall into a sheeter, and then travel, and then go into the oven.
Before it was manual. You were doing all that manually.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and
that
then
was huge.
Massive. That is when we started seeing some money. We let go, we didn't really let go because we grew and we could employ those people elsewhere. But 10 people were not needed in that specific area, and this line did it. And we paid for that line like within a year. And then we understood the power of automation because this wasn't our background, industrial baking. So, and then we got another 4,000 square foot. And attached to the existing one.
Oh, really?
And then we started with the lavash crackers and got another 4,000 square foot. And then a couple of years later, we moved to a 40,000 square foot bakery. And filled up that capacity pretty quickly.
So you went, the biggest jump, was it 8,000 to 40,000?
12,000 to 40,000, yes.
Wow.
But we were at capacity 24
You were?
hours. Yeah, one line, and then we moved to 2 lines and 3 lines and got to capacity at 40,000 square feet, and then wanted to take America by storm and got the 90,000 square feet, and then we,
Talk about, Alon, at the 12,000 square feet, what got you to capacity? What were you, because there's a lot of moving parts here, right? There's the product side, but then there's also the marketing and the selling side. What got you to the capacity from the marketing and selling side when you were at the 12,000 square foot and you reached that capacity?
So our philosophy when it comes to products is not to create a Me Too product. We want to be unique, not unique for the sake of being unique, but to be amazing, awesome.
Because it's better.
That's the product. Because it's tastier, because it's better, because it's more interesting. And so every time we created a product, it was an organic growth. And then another chain would want us because they saw it elsewhere and tasted it and liked it. And so did the end consumer.
So it was organic. It wasn't even
100%.
You reaching out to, we want to get in this one, let's reach out to them. It was
well,
more organic.
we reached out, but it wasn't them approaching us, wanting our products, because we were dealing with all these, as you said, moving parts, and especially with manufacturing, because we didn't have the experience with that. And thankfully, at that time, Guy joined us, so that's, again, a while back.
Did you convince him, or did he want to come on his own accord?
He when we just moved to the 4,000 square foot bakery, he came, he put some money into us. He had some money saved. Again, we needed it for the expansion.
Yeah. So what was he doing at the time?
He did everything, and he kind of worked for no money for about a year.
Yeah. I mean, previous to you, like, what was he doing outside?
He was in Israel, and then he came to Canada.
Got it.
And put the only money he had, which was again $50,000.
Like, no pressure, Alon.
Well, at that time,
you're about to have a heart attack. I mean, with all the stress.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure. Yes. Yeah. But again, you do the best you can. I think that people are divided into two. Those who pressure freezes them, and those that pressure makes them better. Yeah. When there's pressure, I thrive. Yeah. It's not the healthiest always, but they definitely perform very, very well. Mm-hmm. So
he put in 50,000 and came.
Put in 50, and then not only that, but worked for free for a year, and then we just couldn't support it because we were again expanding slowly. He went to New York and started working at a diamond company, and then started managing a diamond distributor there, and was doing well. He went there for a girlfriend, and after a year, it was my dad and I were working together, and he was older school, and I was less, and we were having issues. And I said, listen, I can't do this anymore.
It's a family business, like this.
Exactly. You could imagine. And I was ready.
And he's Israeli, right?
He's Israeli, but he's not he's not the typical Israeli.
Okay.
Softer.
I got you.
He's so then it was, I was ready. I didn't know what to do. It was just so frustrating. And then we said, let's see if Guy can come, because we were making enough money for that, and we didn't know if he'd come or not because he was doing so well in the US. And then within a couple of weeks, he packed up,
really,
threw everything on a U-Haul with his girlfriend, came over to Toronto,
wow.
and then Guy and I started pulling the business, and our father kind of took a step back, and he's always been involved, but not fully. He's fully retired for a while.
So was that hard to convince him at the time, Guy?
No,
it wasn't. He was like...
It was like he was waiting by the phone. And again, he was doing really well there, so we're lucky.
What were some of those stores that you were ecstatic that you got that call or you were able to get into, finally?
I mean, all the big guys here, Whole Foods in the US, Costco worked great for us. Loblaws here, Longo's, Metro. I could go over.
Which one was the toughest to get into?
You know what? I don't think about that anymore.
You don't?
No. What I think about is there was a chain. Okay, I'll tell you a story, and then I'll go back to what's tough.
Yeah.
There was a buyer that I went in, and it was early stage, and I got his phone number. I got his name and phone number from a bakery. So this is very unprofessional. I go into the bakery area of a store, and who's responsible for this? They give me name and number, and this is a bigger store. And I took it and I called this number once every 2 weeks. No answer. And I'm, hey, da-da-da-da. And nothing. And then I think accidentally the phone was answered. And then,
you mean they weren't?
hey,
They were.
I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. I was like, he answered a year ago, I'd be ready, but I wasn't. So after a few seconds of silence, I said, hey, it's Alon. We have product. I'd love, just give me 30 seconds. I just want to drop up some stuff for you to try. So I left every 2 weeks messages for over a year on his line. And he goes, oh, I'm not the correct buyer. I don't deal with this product.
Oh my gosh.
Let me give you the person that deals with it. And I'm, oh God, like, do I have to do this for a year now? And then I got the
And then
number
that person's like, this isn't the right one.
And then, thankfully, the other guy did answer his phone calls, and he within 2 weeks, we made a presentation. He loved the product, took us in, and it was great. Today, I say it's not a store that I want to be in. It's a store that will understand our products, and it's the consumers and understand its products, because it's not a given that once you get into the store and the products are on shelf that it sells. You, especially in areas, I guess more in the US, it's funny, some education and some time is needed for customers to understand the product, and it just takes time. So we're not looking for just anybody. We don't want any partner. We want partners that understand, that will promote it, and once they do, it will do great. So it's
So what does that look like today? Like who is that?
Oh, well, today it's the natural market in the U.S. We're practically in most stores, most natural stores in the U.S., and they're doing great. Now we'll see. We'll see about regular chains, and we're going to attempt there. And again, it's a matter of a fit. Will it work or not? I don't know.
What are, besides like Whole Foods and those, what's the fastest growing natural chains that you find?
Well, Sprouts is doing great. There are a few others. But Whole Foods is changing so much, and they've been such a good partner to us. So,
is that change good or not good?
Yeah, I can't tell you. It was moving. Different departments handled products. So
it's too early to tell. So, what were you going to comment about the tough part? Anything else about the tough part? You said after that story, the tough part about getting in the toughest, store or toughest part, or how you think of being tough getting into the stores.
Well, so that's what I just said is about so it's about the consumer. So you're selling twice. You're selling to the buyer, to the supermarket, then to the bakery manager that handles what actually happens, then the consumer. So we're selling to at least 3 levels. The buyer at the office, the bakery manager, and the consumer. And there are 3 different mindsets, by the way. It's not, when it all sells well, they're all happy, but till that happens, you have to send different messages, educate them differently.
Alon, what would you do if you started today? This sounds so stressful. If you were to do something in the food industry, not bread, what would you get into?
I love food. I always say, I really do love food.
Yeah, it could be the food industry, but not bread. You cannot do bread. Or crackers.
I would go into something. Well, I don't want snacks, because snacks I don't believe in. I don't like you're eating a snack unless it's a super healthy snack, a raw food thing, or something that does good for you. I would say pre-packed, frozen, maybe meal solutions, but that are like organic, healthy, natural, better for you. That could, I think some damage could be done there. I think there aren't enough of those. So frozen and that, you sell less per store and all that, but you could do good. There's a great company called Amy's. I don't know if you know Amy's.
Yeah, for sure.
I admire them. They make all their foods. I remember at the natural food shows 10 years ago, I'd say, when you actually met Amy's parents who ran the business, and they'd give pizzas, and it was amazing. Now, I was just in Anaheim, and I went to Amy's. First of all, you cannot, like, the lineup was crazy. Her parents are definitely not there, and I had no patience to stand in line to get their pizza. So they've seen tremendous success.
Right.
I was sorry they're this big because I didn't get to eat their pizza, and they're really nice people also, from what I could see. I don't know them well, just met them a couple of times.
So, Alon, you talked about the capacity at 12,000, then 40,000. What caused you to reach the capacity there? Was it just more grocery stores, more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eastern Canada. So between the morning rounds that we started, and then a couple of years after, the pre-sliced thin buns, that basically organically entered the market and kind of filled our lines.
When you come out with a new product, like the date and chia, right? Will those stores automatically take you, the ones that you're already in with the other product, or does it take some selling still?
The ones who are good partners would. They really like the idea of date and chia. Nobody else makes that.
Yeah.
And it's a good product. So the ones we have good relationships will try it.
Yeah.
Others, you have to do some selling. But I'd say most of them took it. Today, the crackers, it takes a little more. I think when you're a smaller company, and I'm just realizing this, it's harder, but it's easier. So when you're like a hotter, smaller company, you could almost make anything and they'll try it, as opposed to, and it almost has nothing to do with the product, I think. But they'd look at it more, they'd consider it, rather than being a little larger company and as an addition to, So
Why do you think? They want like the little guy to win, or what is it?
No, I think it stands out a little more. So if you're a smaller company, you stand out more. Larger, you don't as much. Maybe it's there they have the founder, like the fire of the founder is closer to them. They feel that energy.
Yeah.
Maybe I probably think that has something to do with it too.
What's the product that has the longest shelf life? This short shelf life thing stresses me out. I have to tell you.
I see that. I see.
It stresses me out. Yeah.
Rightfully so. Though.
Yeah.
The crackers. So the lavash crackers, they have a 6-month shelf life.
Okay. That doesn't stress me out as much. But it's still stressful because, like you said, once it comes off your facility, comes out of your facility, how long until it gets...
So there are two methods. We treat the fresh product. One is whatever is made tonight will be shipped out to stores in Ontario and Quebec.
Yeah.
As long as we have up to an 8-hour drive, we're good for fresh product.
Yeah.
As to others, you freeze them. So we have a really sophisticated freezing process that captures the goodness in it. The quality remains the same. Then it's palletized, frozen, kept frozen the whole time, and then shipped out to distribution centers, gets to the stores. The stores, this is then defrost them and then put them on shelf. It's a very common method of naturally preserving breads, and most of the bread manufacturers today in the natural market freeze and then thaw off or sell it in the freezer. Yes.
Yeah.
So that kind of does help.
Yeah. What is the freezing process? Is it a certain process that it's called something? The freezing process?
I won't. We don't.
Is that proprietary?
A few proprietary.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like rocket science, but it's a method that we're happy with, and gives us a really good product.
Yeah, I was thinking because by the time you ship it to these stores, it's already...
No. If it was only 8 days, I'd say we'd be limited by a 10-hour radius.
Right.
But obviously, I mean, we sell great in California. We sell great in Texas. We do amazingly well.
Why is that?
I don't know. They have great taste buds, I think.
Yeah. So, what are the states that do the best? California, Texas, any others?
I'd say California does very well.
Yeah.
Texas does very well. Northwest, so Portland, Seattle, that area. The Northeast is doing well for us also. And, they're covering the whole country this way. But Chicago does very well now. We have a bunch of stores in Chicago.
Yeah. But I'm sure we've gotten your product here. I'm in Chicago. Yeah, I'm sure that... And we've had those breads for a long time.
You have them. I know you have them.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So, with all of it sounds difficult. And then on top of it, you're creating a physical product. So this is very capital intensive. Plus you're growing. How do you do that from 40,000 to 90,000 square feet? You're more than doubling your capacity. And that means also all the raw materials you're increasing too.
Yes. It was rough. Well, at the same time, the market we thought was right for us was taken.
They were right, but they just someone flooded it.
Made a right decision move and a business move and took the market, which is I take my hat off to them. They did a good job. It's hard. And we're fully, we're still, we had a few times where we were looking for money in order to grow and expand and all, but thankfully it never materialized. So today we own the company between the three of us, and we're doing okay.
Yeah. So what's the hardest part about setting up that commercial operation? Like when you go from 40,000 to 90,000, what are the
it's
challenges?
Massive. You just first you build a line or two in the new place, and then you need to move existing lines. And when I say lines, these are massive metal, stainless steel structures that are all interconnected one with another. Yeah. There are companies that do that, but A, it's expensive. B, it's the moment you change things, putting it together is a challenge. But we have great teams of people who took care of that. So it's possible, and companies move.
Right.
And now I know you could do it. Before I didn't think you could do it.
Do you have to get a line of equipment, or is it like an overnight thing? Like we have to move this line first into this facility and get it working, or do you just get a whole new line?
Yeah,
and then move the second line.
Correct.
Yeah. Is that what you do?
Yeah, because you need to keep your facility working because the fresh part you can't build stock. You can't.
Right.
Yeah. So.
You have to get two going at once.
Make sure it's working, and made sure the old ones are working, and then you move them one at a time.
Yeah.
And it takes a month at least.
Yeah. So I'm curious, Alon, what product just took off that surprised you, and then what product didn't do as well when you thought this one's going to just flood the market and be a bestseller?
So we were fortunate. So ever since we started the sandwich shop, the large pitas did it really well. I didn't expect them to do well. Mm-hmm. Then the morning rounds, not knowing anything, did extremely well. And then the pre-sized thin buns. What didn't do well? I'm trying to think. You know what? We just came out with a square.
The ciabatta? Yeah, I saw
yes,
that. Yes,
and that's limping. And I don't know if we'll try and push it. May let it expire with dignity.
Yeah.
We're going to see.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I saw that, I thought, that's interesting because you changed the shape.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a completely different process. It was a completely different line. It was a challenge, and it's such a nice product. But the shelf life was 4 days, so it was a logistical nightmare. And we don't work. You know what? You could put in chemicals and extend it. But we wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I'd rather not sell it than put chemicals in. So either they'll take it or they won't. It's a really nice product, but
yeah, you stick to your core and your foundational principles.
Yeah, 100%.
What again? Like we were talking about the 3 people in that sandwich shop. What does the staffing look like today? What positions do you have run the company with?
So we're between 200 and 250 people. It fluctuates based on seasons.
Yeah.
We'll have all the regular departments, HR, production managers, HR manager, accounting manager. So today, Guy and I are not involved in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
Mind you, we are. A lot of team members there have worked with us for so long. They know us very well.
Yeah.
We have just a bunch of really good people. So on one hand, it grew so much. On the other, we still have the people who've been there for a while. So it's good.
So what has been a key hire for you that you remember, wow, this just changed my business life, that I was able to take this off my hands? That's
a good question. It happened several times.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So at the beginning, moving into the 4,000 square foot bakery, I remember mixing. So I'm mixing stuff. I have my connection to the phone because I was also the secretary and the order taker.
Right.
So I'm mixing dough, and whenever I stop, run over, write whatever, answer, and come back. And then I deliver it also. So my brother did the same, and my father also. We were all kind of doing everything. So the best time of my life was hiring a mixer. Then I drove. The best day of my life was hiring a driver to replace me, and then I didn't deliver.
At what point do you decide to hire that mixer and the driver?
You know, I can't tell you. It wasn't. It was just right. It was.
You just like you were overwhelmed, or what?
When you stabilize things. So when things stabilize, then it's okay. What's next? And then it's okay. Let me replace me. And then when really great moment was when we hired a lady to do customer service at the stores, which I thought nobody could. I thought I'm irreplaceable, but she did a better job than me, and definitely better looking, and she was amazing, and that was just let me think and focus on the business. So those are the three ones that I remember. I mean, they were very real because they released hours in my day. Yeah. After that, we always had people, but I'm always kind of choosing what area to focus in. Today, both my brother and I focus mostly on new business, branding, some marketing, and just the whole and non-for-profit, which is really important to us.
Yeah, so the mixer, the driver, and the customer service were the biggest things that freed up your time. So after you hired the customer service person, now that you have more time, what did you do more of?
Created more products, worked on branding, worked on improving packaging, putting thought into the product and into the company.
Yeah. What were you mentioned before, some of the tough times, like the ups and downs, sometimes that you were on the brink of whatever it was?
So the last one was when we opened the 90,000 square foot bakery, and I have a really good buddy who lives in Maui, so I go there once a year for just around a week. Amazing time. And I get a call from, I think my brother, that the bank was calling in, requesting us to put money in to support the ratios of our loan.
Yeah. And
it was, oh my God, that was like the sky fell on me, because you work, and now you have to take a mortgage on your house and put in. Yeah. And you're doing this for 16 years, like 15 years, right? So you think you're out of the wood, but you're not.
I'm hearing about this for the past hour, and I'm already stressed out. I don't know how you do this for 20 years.
Just have a good drink after this.
Oh God, a couple of good drinks. Yeah.
That's been helping me for 20 years.
And a one bun and a couple of good drinks.
Go to Maui, have a drink, and you'll be good.
So you get this call in Maui.
So and then again, when I saw the one bun imitation at the store in Florida, that was the world collapsed. But today it's so. There was another one. We were called into a supermarket chain, which we did a lot of business with, and we were told that we're done within 2 months. And if we'd be done with them within 2 months, it would be out of business. So you go and work your magic on everybody.
Why were you going to be done in 2 months?
Because other bakeries can do it. We couldn't distribute to the whole area, even though we developed the product. And it was a whole story. But thankfully, there were really good people there that really appreciated our business and vouched for us and fought for us. And we were back in, and we were never out. So it worked out well.
This may be a strange question, but I always think about this. With the product in the grocery store, whatever, it's a bread or whatever it is, and after, let's say it's there after its expiration, whatever, it's been 2 weeks, what do they do with it?
Well, it's for the commercial breads, it's 2 weeks. For our bread, it's after
so 6 days, like 7 days. Right?
We take it back. Yeah, it's a tough business model. So what they don't sell, you take back.
So what do you do with it?
It goes to feed, so to animal feed.
Oh, okay.
And you don't make money out of it. It's just
you don't really. Damn.
I know.
It's horrible.
Some, I guess, breadcrumbs would make, but there are so many breadcrumbs you can sell. So.
Why can't you charge people for feed? Why can't you charge?
That's the business model. They
just get it for free.
Containers. They take care of it. They get rid of it. That's. I don't know.
Man, Alon. This is horrible.
I told you we're not bright people.
No, it's
the business.
Someone's got to do it. Yeah. What tools and software do you use to run your business? What's key for you guys in the operations?
We keep improving. That's my area. My brother deals with that, and but we have a system that brings everything together. It's not, what was it called? I forget. But it keeps an eye on inventories and compares to shipments.
Because you have a lot of moving parts. You know, you have like you have ingredients that you're coming in, ingredients that are going into the breads, ingredients that you've ordered. You have to keep all this stuff straight.
Yeah, we have a lot of products in the freezer and pallets that go out, come in. So yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. We have a good, like, again, that area is really done well. We have a really good CFO that makes sure the numbers match every end of month, and a good team counting and looking. And we're not high tech, but I think we're higher tech than most bakeries. Yeah.
You know, Alon, since it's Inspired Insight, first of all, I appreciate all your sharing of these stories. This is really the stories that don't get told. You know, all the tough times and the hard times it takes to keep a business running and going and successful, you know? And so I appreciate you sharing those stories about, you know, your dad working overnight and then you coming in the morning and working the rest of the time. It's, you know, that's the reality of things. So since it's Inspired Insider, I always ask, what's been the lowest point, and then what's been the proudest moment for you? What was you talked a little bit about some of the low points.
Yeah, I think I covered them. So it's not that often, but they did occur. So it's when the bank called, it's when we saw our product in the US. I'd say those were the two big ones. The high points are, you know what, when honestly, when people send us emails, and we're not asking for them, or on Facebook or whatnot, and they tell us they love our product, that happens almost on a daily basis. We have a massive database of end consumers that we communicate with, that we talk to. They talk to us. That's the best thing. I love it when people call and say they love our product.
Yeah. What's been your favorite story that you've heard?
Well, a recent one is a mother. So we don't declare that we're nut-free, just for legal reasons. Yeah. But we'll say we cannot put the stamp on it, but we have no nuts in our bakery. Our team members are not allowed to bring any nut products into our bakery, or to even eat them at lunch. So we do, and our suppliers don't hold ingredients with nut products. Right. So that much we do. It's on you to decide if you want to use it or not. So this lady decided to try it, and her kid, who's had really severe issues, was so happy that their kids they could take it to school with them, because they were having issues with healthy snacks that don't have nuts in them, or that they're not. It was amazing. It was just amazing. Yeah. And
you affect people's lives. Yeah.
It's the little things. We make a lot of products a day, and we put in a lot of no joke, good intention into these products, and we hope that whoever eats these products gets just only good stuff from them, and almost on an energetic level. So it's just, we want people to be happy and better once they eat, obviously with a good taste and the clean label. Yeah. But that's part of how we do things. And that's definitely our intention.
Yeah, and the consumer one's big, but I want to know something also on selfish. Like, you've worked for 20 years in this, working really hard. So what's something that you've celebrated, a win you celebrated because of how hard you worked with this company?
Oh, I celebrate all the time. Yeah. So all the time. When we went to San Francisco for the show, so it's half work, half.
What show is it? What's
the Fancy Food Show in January, and I took the product development team with us, and we went literally partying through Napa Valley and San Francisco, and had a blast. I'm able today, in 2 weeks I'm going to Maui again for a week for no reason. Just I felt like going, and 2 weeks ago I decided, and I can do it. There are a lot of benefits, and our father is amazing. His whole life he had ups and downs financially, but throughout he always lived his life fully, and he enjoyed life. So he'd go to a cheaper Chinese restaurant. I remember as children when we were not doing so well at times, we'd go out and we'd have a great time in this hole in the wall. Today we'll do the same thing, and it will be either in a hole in the wall or not. It's I think it's how you look at it, and we're not materialistic. I'm not looking for necessarily fancy cars. We're looking for financial independence, definitely, and we're making headway towards that. But we don't care for huge houses, fast cars, and stuff like that. At least I'm not, and not my family either. We do. You know what? We want to have a positive impact. And live well, and I think we're doing that. We do a lot of work with the community.
Yeah, also. I saw that. It's something you donate like 36,000 of some product per year or something, or what was I reading?
That may be. I'd say the marathons, all the big marathons and runs in Southern Ontario, which is fairly big in Toronto and area.
Yeah.
They all get our morning rounds in their bag. But we support programs, breakfast programs in more than 100 schools in Greater Toronto area. We don't make money on it, so I think that's extremely important. That this is why we're doing these things. Is it's such a pleasure to think of kids that can't afford, their families can't afford breakfasts, are getting our morning round in the morning, and getting them to lunch or maybe further. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And we work also with entrepreneurs and younger entrepreneurs. So that's like my best friends now are younger entrepreneurs, or less young now, but just it's more than just selling and money and stuff like that.
Yeah. Besides, with your dad, I'm sure you've worked with him for many years. I'm curious what other lessons you learned. So live life. What other lessons did you learn from your dad working side by side?
For myself, he's a lot more chill than I am. I'm a little more stressed out, so I will get stressed quickly and then go and charge the issue.
Right.
I think I should still go and charge the issue, but I should get stressed less. So I think I'm a lot calmer. I know I'm a lot calmer. Otherwise, I would I wouldn't be.
You seem pretty calm to me, actually.
I'm much calmer now. Yeah.
Considering.
I used to be very stressed. Yeah.
What have we not talked about so far that would be important? Some advice to entrepreneurs maybe thinking about getting into the food industry.
I think the food industry is amazing. I think the more innovative you are, the better chances you have to succeed. I think that enjoy the ride. It's if you go to food shows, have a blast. Have your customers feel, and the consumers notice it. It's funny. People know if you have a good time, if there's good energy in your company. Treat your people well. So our team members.
Yeah, I want you to talk about this a little bit. Yeah, this is important.
It's super important because everything you make goes through their hands. Yeah. And you want them, again, you don't want miserable people working for you. You don't want that. And so our teams are, whenever, I remember both Guy and I and our father were super happy when we could give, and this is maybe 10 years ago, the health benefits. Sadly, and it cost us a lot of money.
Tons of money.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we were happy that we could offer it and that they have it. When we are profitable, we have profit sharing. Yeah. So it's also large sums of money. That money doesn't have to go there. It could go into our pockets. But we're very, very happy. Not that means that nothing goes. We do benefit from business, but we want the people working with us to benefit. So I remember just this year, in December, I had one of the ladies in the office. She was woohoo! Just after we declared. And I said, hey, what's happening? She said, I'm happy. I said, why are you happy? She goes, I'm happy and Canada Goose is going to be happy. So she was able to now go and buy a Canada Goose coat, which costs like $800-900.
Really? Holy cow.
Yeah. So she was so happy. And this is, these are not high, they're average income or lower than average because of the job itself. So that was so nice. It was just nice to see.
How did you decide that, the profit sharing component?
Because we always wanted to, we discussed in the past, we were thinking, is there a way to even have shared ownership of the company? Because, again, without them,
you know how important it was. Yeah.
It doesn't exist without them. But then because of legalities and lack of control or control issues, and it just always got complex with lawyers. So he said, screw this, we'll make the decision when we can, and when we can, we do it. So we have a little formula that we follow, and that dictates when and how much it's done. And it's done at the end of every year, and everybody's familiar with how the business is doing during the year. So yeah, it's very important.
I remember it's in a few articles actually. They mentioned that, and it really stuck out. How do you come to that structure? Are there certain professionals that they're experts at that? Let's say someone wants to actually create that. Like, Alon, that sounds like an amazing idea. Where'd you start with coming up with the right formula for you?
So yeah, the formula is simple. It just has to do with our profitability, and then there's a breakdown of team members by number of years and by position, and we attribute different numbers to them, plug in a number, and then it shoots out the numbers. So and the percent, we decide of a percentage of the profit that will go out, and that's it, and that can vary. It all depends.
Yeah. Is there a standard when you were doing the research for it? Is there a standard that people know?
No, I didn't see any standard.
Yeah.
We were looking if anybody knows of and again, I don't know if we'll go there or not, but I'd like to know about a way of sharing ownership of a company with team members, but without it affecting your decision-making ability and your freedom. Because that we won't compromise. It's definitely out.
Alon, this has been fantastic. I appreciate it, and everyone should check out. Where should we point people towards? I mean, I have Ozery Bakery, OZERYBAKERY.com. Any other places that they should go to check out?
No, that's it. We're very busy on Facebook. We're busy on Instagram. We have a nice new site for 3 weeks now, so go check it out. And should go taste our products, because a screen is boring, but a really tasty toasted morning round.
What's your favorite product, and what do you put on it?
I really like our muesli, and I like to warm it in a toaster oven, cut it open, put a little cream cheese, some old cheddar cheese, and eat it, and maybe some really ripe tomato, and then eat that. It's really nice with also, I like the certain nut, like a almond butter or a sunflower butter on top of it also is extremely good in the morning.
Yeah.
So those are great.
I ask at the end because I didn't want to get really hungry in the very beginning of this, and
I'll send you a box of products. How about that?
I'll go to the store, and I think we already have them actually. But Alon, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant. Thank you.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like $100 grand.